Hi, Kishoth. How are you?
Hi, Isha. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. If you want to introduce yourself to everyone, what you do, who you are, how you've become a local leader in Sri Lanka, I think that will help.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So I'm Kishoth Navaratnerajah, a co-founder of Dreamspace Academy, which is a social enterprise tackling local socio-economic and environmental challenges through education, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So we are working with uplifting and empowering underserved communities across Sri Lanka through these three key pillars. Through challenge-based, we call it challenge-based learning, the approach of our education model, and then the grassroots innovation, how we solve the local critical challenges. It can be tech solution, non-tech solution, hardware solution, service solution, and also ideally that grassroots innovation and also the change maker that comes in our program, they need to spin off as an impact venture. So it can be a startup, a non-profit, or they become leaders in their community. So that is our model, actually, the Dreamspace Academy. Basically, the key program, the flagship program that we do. So we started in 2018. We had like different baseline studies. So one is about our, the 3 decades of the prolonged war and how it impacts and affects our dependency. We were not independent. We were depending on all the supports from someone else outside of the country, deciding what we need, and that is one of our baseline. And as because of this war and different other man-made hazards, like we were not empowered or
Yeah.
enabled in order to solve our own local challenges. We were not skilled, and we were not that capacity to solve any challenges. And also, like one of the critical challenge, since we started, we were kind of headquartered in particular. So the main problem also about the ecological balance between humans and the nature, especially the human elephant conflict. So that is also kind of a certain baselines. And one of the baseline also, when we were starting 2018, we understood that Sri Lanka is one of the least innovative country in South Asia, marked by the Global Innovation Index in 2018. So these are some of the baselines. Okay, now it is a time for us to make our locals empowered to solve their own challenges by themselves. So these are some baselines to co-found Dreamspace with my co-founder Aravind in 2018. And since then, so we have somehow enabled 11,000 individuals and supported over 36 businesses to up and running, and also very strong 14 plus change makers to spin off and come up with their impact venture from the scratch. And also we received numerous recognitions locally and internationally as well. And we were able to enable different connections and opportunities locally as well as from abroad to Sri Lanka and also to the local communities. These are some of the impact, I would say. And that's what we do through Dreamspace.
Yeah, it's amazing. You mentioned that you guys you encourage them to spin off into impact ventures. When thinking about uplifting communities and improving people's skills and making sure they go and do something by themselves, a lot of people just focus on them producing their own ventures. They won't think about impact venture. Why have you made it a key point to make sure that everything they do links back to their community? Because I've seen it in examples of people like who've done that, and it's amazing because they're giving back. They're not taking their skills and going abroad, or taking their skills and only making money. They're focusing on doing things that are creating impact for other people, even though they're not in a position of so much privilege. Why do you think that's so important? Why are you encouraging that, essentially?
Yeah. It is based on our values, and also the main key thing is, we have been telling this, okay, Sri Lanka is behind 10 years, 20 years, right, from other developed countries. But how long we are going to tell this, right?
Yeah.
So we will tell this if we are going to work, not thinking about the community, right? If I started to think, okay, only about me, okay, I need this money, I need to buy this house, I need to take care of my family, or I need to become a wealthier person. Business can do that, right? Social business even can do that. But why we call it like an impact venture that impacts the community or develop the community while we are building our business is because, we have to work together collectively in order to develop our community as also our country, right? So we have a long history. To fill that gap, we have to work together. And all the people that we work, we always tell them somehow you have to give back to the community. Give back to the community means it's not that, they financially support. They have
Yeah.
to cover like people, and also they have to create an industry or a business that create more employment, and also utilizing the local resources that we have in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
That's why we call, creating impact, not importing something again from outside of the country and then producing something. So we have to do that that impact venture using our resources. Then only we can, fill that gap. We can kind of come to a level where the other countries are thinking. So still, Sri Lanka is far behind thinking about future. Right, the futuristic thinking is still behind. That's why we encourage everyone. Okay, so when you do something, think back about your community, so that you can uplift the community as well. Even when we were starting Dreamspace Academy, we started with training. We started with training so that we can build our human resource at the local level. We don't need to hire someone from Colombo or outside of the region to start Dreamspace. We want the locals to hold the space, the ownership.
Yeah.
So that, we started to empower them, build them, train them, building their capacity so that, we scale it and also it develops the community. So that's the whole point why we all the entrepreneurs to think about the community, and 10% of their effort and money and all the resources needs to go in building that community.
Exactly. Yeah, that's such an important point. Not just creating. I know you talk a lot about how if you're a leader, you don't just get people to follow you, empower other people to also become leaders, and getting people to do impact ventures and empower others creates this knock-on effect, and we're trying to build a big communities. I think that's such an important thing, and a lot of nonprofits or social organizations forget to consider that. They help people and then leave them be. But encouraging them to also think about everyone else, I think, is so powerful and something I've seen very unique to Dreamspace. So I think that's amazing. Why did you start in Batticaloa specifically? Like, I know there are a lot of undeserved regions in Sri Lanka, and there are a lot of places that would benefit from innovation like this. And if we're talking about Sri Lanka as a whole, but why Batticaloa in particular?
So yeah, the history of Dreamspace is started with Mullaitivu, So the actually Dreamspace concept. So when we like co-founded, it started in 2017 as a concept, but we talked a lot about that even before starting in Batticaloa. But actually, the thinking process for us to started in Mullaitivu. So when we visited in 2014 to work with some young leaders, young people in Mullaitivu, that's why we started. Okay, so our people, needed like a different exposure, because only in 2012 I got exposure because of our past and certain histories. We were not able to go outside of the districts, right? So I was able to go outside of the district and engage with different communities and getting exposure to the opportunities only in 2012. And then in 2014 I had an opportunity to visit Mullaitivu, right? And I was like, I saw how devastated the young people and how traumatized. And we started with certain workshops. So no one knows, but actually the concept of Dreamspace originated in Mullaitivu. We started in workshops, but why we kind of headquartered in Batticaloa? Because my roots was not in Mullaitivu, so I couldn't kind of build the team to set up Dreamspace.
Yeah.
Then I came back to Batticaloa and we started Dreamspace, and we found our initial investors, and then I found my co-founder. So that's how it started in Batticaloa, because my roots are there. I born there. I had a very rooted community. So that's why it started. But the initial stage is in Mullaitivu. That's why our heart still lies with the Mullaitivu region, and we started our hub, and everything goes there.
There, nice. Okay. Yeah, because I know Batticaloa is obviously a very overlooked region. The people there are overlooked. So what would you say about the people within Batticaloa, about their work ethic, about their intelligence? Like, what would you say to people about them?
Yeah, I mean, like after we started only like, even I started to study about Batiklo and how many people are like moved out and what is the current situation in Batiklo. So when this was happening, I found out there are very, very, very less support system for Batiklo. Right. So many people move to Gulf countries to make employment and also to create a sustainable livelihood. And the support system for Batiklo was like very low, and it is also one of the poorest district. And also like the the literacy level is coming up, but also the unemployment rate is also high.
Mm.
Regarding the war, like there is a history how Batiklo people kind of engaged in the war and also affected during the war. The development was not that fast, but so it's happening. It's happening even right now. Still coming up. Coming up district, but it is still like positioned as the poorest district in the country, but it is coming up. It is coming up. So the people, even still we have the divide between the people, like when it comes for the development of the economy or development of the community, the togetherness or collectively doing something is little bit of divided and distant. So that is
That's
something still I
the
am
trend.
facing to kind
Yeah.
of bring people together to engage in the development.
And I think that's something that a lot of people, especially in the diaspora, don't know, that there is still kind of this not tension, but there's still this divide, like you said. And as a community, we need to come together. And so, at
Yeah.
least with Aram, we take a needs based approach, and we go to regions that need it most, or we work with people who are most willing to take on our help and uplift themselves. And we found that some of the best people are in Batiklo, and that's why we love the place, and we keep coming back and want to do a lot there. But so I just wanted to kind of shed light on that, because not a lot of people know about that. And yeah, before, you mentioned again that the principle to starting Dreamspace was that you didn't want to be reliant on external, either diaspora sending money or aid, and you wanted to skill everyone up. And while that's very true, what do you think? So, what role do you think the diaspora should have now in helping co-develop our country? What role do you think that they should have?
Yeah, so what I was kind of mentioning, like, so which we want to kind of reduce the dependency. It's not about, just like waiting for people for charity, right? Okay, people will give money or will take care of, my family, So this has been, created by the different international aids, coming and supporting during the war, during the natural disasters, So that is an immediate support. Of course, rebuilding means a lot of effort, a lot of support from different entities needs to come to rebuild the country in terms of war or natural disasters. But that's a very short term support, not that you can expect for your lifetime. But yeah, like, so we appreciate, of Aram coming and like giving a different insight for our people, like how Sri Lanka is doing and what Sri Lanka needs, so many things.
Mm.
Okay, like when we say diaspora needs support, everyone thinks, okay, they're going to give us money, they're going to give rations and groceries and stuff, right? So it's not that's the support that we need. The support we need is about the economic development, a sustainable livelihood, right? A sustainable development of the country, right? So for that team, so we
Exactly.
expect the diaspora needs to contribute. The second one is about contributing to our community in terms of industrialization. So that can create sustainable revenue making even for the industry, and also create like a lot of jobs. So that is also like the other thing. If you see, like, Sri Lanka, like many opportunities, Sri Lanka still has an open market, so which we can tap into in order to develop the economy. So it is also time. So we have a different scenario now in Sri Lanka. So it is a time for everyone to come and kind of get your citizenship back, or or dual citizenship, and then contribute the resources to the country's development.
Exactly.
Because like in our different areas, we have different natural resources. We have ocean, we have coconut, right? So we have rubber, we have cinnamon, we have tea. Like all these things are very underutilized. We have a lot of
Hmm.
potential, but the only thing that people needs to kind of work in order to create more outcome. The results is slow. I mean, Sri Lanka is exporting, cinnamon, tea, rubber, things are going out, but the percentage is low. Sri Lanka is a
Hmm.
very green country, but Sri Lanka is still, right, importing rice to serve the people, right? So we have a lot of land. So our cultivation speed is slow. In order to make that, faster, we should invest, right? It's not only
Invest,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, the responsibility of the government, but also it is also responsibility of the private sector and the people. So we need to kind of boost
Hmm.
that thing so that we don't need to like
Yeah.
import rice. We have to export it. And if you see, we are a blessed, country. People say Sri Lanka is a God's nation. So we have to kind of utilize our blue resources. Sri
Hmm.
Lanka's blue economy is still untapped, right? So we have to
Yeah.
tap that thing. So whoever kind of tapping that blue economy is in the right time. So we have to do that.
Yeah.
So we have to write like, so it's a huge, as I said, it's a very huge open market, and we have to tap
Yeah.
into it. We have to tap into it. So for that,
Exactly.
the diaspora's involvement is really helps for the country's growth. Because why? Because
Hmm.
one thing I think I can mention this in the thing, like in the call, in the video, because we as Sri Lankans, we are very generous. So we are letting all the non-Sri
Hmm.
Lankans to come into the country and make money out of us, right? We are so generous, but we have to support that the same generosity we have to give it to our fellow Sri Lankans as well, right? So we have to get that. We should not ask, because this is our country, which means our home,
Hmm.
right? I cannot ask like my mom or father or siblings to start whatever I want to do at home, right? So we have to like you don't need permission. You just come and ask, and because you have the authority as a Sri Lankan. So this is
Exactly.
it's a time for us to step into as diaspora community.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you mentioned the most important thing, like at RM as well, we say is diaspora investment in Sri Lanka. So like you said, there are so many untapped markets, businesses, even things like making our economies more efficient and industrializing better. And
Mm,
they are very high return investments that diaspora can make. And even if they're not high financially, there's impact created there. So like you
yeah.
said, it's an impact investment. And that's something that is so key. And diaspora holds so much wealth and so much knowledge. And we're doing very well for ourselves. And so this is
Mm,
such a great time to go back and pour into the country. And then another thing, I think Dreamspace uses this model as well, but mentorship. We have
yeah.
so many skills and we're going to the best institutions in the world in terms of education, and we're not going back and giving that back. So that's another thing that we at Arm are trying to convey to everyone. But also, I know at Dreamspace that that's happened a lot. So do you mind talking a bit more about that? How diaspora mentorship or skills or knowledge share helps?
Yeah. So we do it that in two ways. The mentorship. One is I mean, three ways, right? So one is local Sri Lankan supports
Yeah.
like the change makers, and the second thing is a non-resident Sri Lankan, so which is a diaspora community supports the change makers. The third one is like internationals, helps to amplify the knowledge and technology base of the change makers comes in our program. Not only change makers, also the entrepreneurs that comes in, because we do incubate and accelerate startups and ideas, right? So in that
Hmm.
case, so when we connect, so mostly why we connect with mentors, not only to amplify the knowledge or knowledge base of the candidate, but also to create the trust between the Sri Lankans and
Exactly.
the diaspora community. Why? Because that we have past experiences that like diaspora comes and actively engaged, and certain misuse happens, and then there is no reporting or follow up. So that is was a concern even
Initially.
to many diaspora networks. So we want to create that
Mhm.
like we want to kind of fill that gap, because like once the trust is created, then yes, like it's a win-win
Mhm.
for both the local Sri Lankans here and also the the Diaspora network, who wants to kind of trust and actively involve. So, so
Yeah.
we have cases where the mentors coming from the Sri Lankan diaspora community who started to invest in the entrepreneur, right? So that's
Themselves.
how the mentorship helps. Not only like sharing the resources and the knowledge, but also there are cases where they support our entrepreneurs to give international exposure. They kind of support them to come abroad and get exposure there, and then they go back
Yeah.
to the community. Like there's several initiatives that is happening, so that's why we encourage the mentorship. But also, like I used
Hmm.
to say one thing, because born and raised in the country, not all individuals kind of a process what we are getting as feedbacks or insights in real time, right? That's a time
Yeah.
taken for Sri Lankans to process and to kind of share things, right? So that is something unusual, not unusual, but it is common here, right? People kind of
Mm.
respond to you a little bit of later, right? The time's taken. So this mentorship kind of like fills that gap in two ways. One is to
Yeah.
understand,
Exactly.
right? To understand, okay, so this is how it is happening here. And the other one, the locals here try to become real time processing, right? Okay, as soon as I get the knowledge, okay, I
Yeah.
put things here, okay, so now I can talk to. Because Sri Lankans, we call them, okay, whenever whoever comes and like we kind of a keep quiet, people say, oh, they are very respectful. From my
Yeah.
understanding, it is not only respect. The respect comes with fear, right? So we have it
Yeah.
all our system, like when we speak, it is start from a school education system. Our teachers say, keep
Yeah.
silence, don't speak, they take
Mm.
the pen, right, in hand, if you kind of so
Mhm.
it is started from there. So we
Yeah.
have been kept silent or forced to be silent for several years, and suddenly
Mm.
we cannot change ourselves to be
Yes.
passively involved and to kind of
Else.
give you real time feedback. So it
Mm.
takes time. So this mentorship kind of make the diaspora or the international to understand, okay, how this system worked so far in the years,
What?
but now it is
Yeah.
not the case. The Gen Z is coming out, and also even like my generation or the generation before me or after me, for after a few years, we are trying to fill that gap, to
Yeah.
process real time and to tell
Yeah.
things directly, say yes, no, so we are coming out now. So that's how the mentorship kind of fills the gap, even to trust building, and or to invest through the individual. So these things are happening. A lot of
Yeah.
people, diaspora individuals are coming back and working with our change makers, investing money in them,
Mm.
and these things is happening actively right now.
Yeah, that's really good. And I never thought about it like that. Like when you say that all your life you've been taught passive learning and not actually active learning. So now that when we come in and bring like a different model of learning, different model of implementing things, it's actually valuable, even just a learning process to bring back. I never thought about it like that. That's really good. But yeah, in terms of mentorship, you said that it even helps like the diaspora understand the true on the ground reality for these change makers and these people in the communities. What do you think is the biggest like misunderstanding of the diaspora of what actually goes on in the country and how people are actually living? What's the biggest misunderstanding? And obviously, the best way to change that is for diaspora to get involved with local people. But how? What do you think is the biggest misunderstanding from your experiences working with diaspora or with investors and things like that?
I mean, there are a lot of misunderstandings, I would say. No, that's why, like, so we need initiatives like Aram to bring the next generation to come and see what Sri Lanka needs. But like, the diaspora, that's where maybe the first generation of diaspora is still um, I mean, they have to come back and understand, like what Sri Lanka needs. It's not always giving money. It's not always giving about stuffs, materials. It's about, enabling them, right? Enabling them to act on their
Mhm.
own. So that is still a
Yeah.
gap, we are seeing. And also still, the traditional way of enabling people is happening. building houses, giving stuff for free and
Mm,
everything happening, not creating a livelihood to that one
yeah.
individual. Because let's say like
Yeah.
in a family needs a house, we don't need to build a house, right? We need to
Yeah.
create sustainable living for them. Through revenue making, they
Yeah.
have to
Exactly.
build their own home, right? It is creating again and another dependency. We're saying, okay, we don't need NGOs,
Yeah.
we don't need international aid, go away, leave our country. But
Mm,
we asking all the NGOs and aids to leave the country, but we are coming as another aid, right? And creating that more,
Paid.
yeah. So that way, it is a huge gap because we are seeing certain videos on social media, and we are making our own decisions. So that is one thing that I would say. Still, it is happening. We are just trusting the videos that is coming on, and we are sending money, and things are happening, certain things goes wrong, and I mean many things goes wrong, only certain things happening the right way, that is as described in the video. And also like certain actions, like because certain realities we have to admit in terms of we are still living in Sri Lanka, and we are not
Mm,
a community in the country, right? So
mm,
accepting that, we have to empower our people. I think this is also a huge gap. The political realities is also a very huge gap that is still kind of attached and kind of set in the mindset of our diaspora community, which is needs to change, and this is needs to be
mhm.
changed by the second and the coming generation of diaspora. I mean,
Right.
people, yeah, the young
Yeah.
generation. So they need to kind of
Mhm.
see the reality, take documentaries, and these things needs to kind of like clear. That's kind of the blockage, or kind of and also it needs to be healed,
Yeah.
in their mind and their heart as well. The Sri Lanka is going in a new
Yeah.
direction, and we have to
Mm,
support in a way that is supporting our community. So that it is, like how are we going to support our people? Because the migration is increasing, right? Even the country is coming to a stabilization, but the migration is increasing.
yeah.
Say if we are
Yeah.
encouraging migration, then there will be no people to support or give back, right? So the migration will be happening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happening in the Tamil community a lot, but also it is happening in the other communities as well. The
That's true.
Sri Lanka will be it will come back to a colonization, right? If it is happening in the same
Yeah.
way, right? Then there will be
Right.
like no rules.
Exactly.
This is, I mean, seriously needs to
Mm,
address. So we have to see the realities and we have to act accordingly. Like Aram initiative, Project Roots is coming. So these initiatives kind of showing the diaspora community what the country needs, and also showing the young generation
needs. Exactly.
what Sri Lanka needs. Okay, I witnessed this is what the country needs.
Mhm.
It's not like what the video
Mm.
shows, the media shows. I never ate a loaf of bread for 3,000 rupees, right? So several medias were reporting during our crisis time that we are buying a loaf of bread,
Exactly.
3,000 rupees. No, it didn't happen in that way, right? So these interpretations
Yeah.
by different medias, people are trusting like very blindly and making assumptions, then
Exactly.
destroying everything. So that is something
Yeah.
need to be very mindful of, and I appreciate like Aram
Mm,
initiative taking that step forward to clear that the
yeah.
misunderstandings and also the things that is not true to the ground realities. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. And for as long as, I mean, this is something I want to say to diaspora community, for as long as we stay misunderstanding and we don't go and see exactly what people need, we're not
Mm,
giving the right help. We are just acting like NGOs and people who are looking from a very pan out view of what people need. And again, to the point you said about the houses and generating income, it's all about sustainability, building sustainable pathways for people to improve their lives. So not just giving money to build a house, but helping them find a revenue stream or an income stream where they can sustainably build a house over time and maintain a livelihood. Obviously, a lot of people just will send money and not understand that that's not necessarily what the community needs. So yeah, going back and seeing, and that's what we try and do with ARM, is bridging that gap. It really is not about reconnecting with culture, but reconnecting with the people there and the reality there. Yeah, so I think that was that is a big thing, and it is a big block for our future, especially because I think I said this before, but our diaspora is so big, has done so well for themselves, is in a position to help, but a lot of people just don't know how, and also aren't giving the right help or the most effective help. So, yeah, what would you? Well, I think what would you say to diaspora who want to understand more and want to be able to understand the communities or how they can help more effectively?
Simply joins with Aram, right? And get to know through them,
Yeah,
like what Sri Lanka needs, because it is a hard reality that everyone should accept, even people in living in Sri Lanka.
yeah,
Many things happened in the past, right? The trust somehow, I mean, for younger generation, you're coming and seeing the trust is coming up, and also certain people, let's say
exactly.
50% is kind of they are in trust and they are doing something to the country, but 50% they kind of disappointed, and the disappointment became frustration, and they're
Mm,
looking back the country, right? Even I met few people in
country,
Germany,
yeah,
to come back to Sri Lanka. They don't want to engage in anything at all. And I a few people, they
yeah,
kind of supported in millions and millions of dollars, but when they came back anonymously, not these other people supported, but they also like supporting not directly, they are supporting through different
mm,
intermediaries, right,
right,
through different organizations, people. So when
yeah,
they came and witnessed certain people saying, okay, these we should not have accepted this help. This is not helping us better, right? This is not helping us to grow. And when they're hearing this stuff, they
yeah,
really disappointed. They are frustrated. Okay, my hard-earned money went to
money,
garbage, right? It got wasted. So why these people I trusted not did the right thing in the ground, right? So this I got to hear these stories through my eyes, and so that's why I'm telling, like, okay, reaching out to Dreamspace or reaching out to people in Sri Lanka,
mm,
it doesn't like that helps to rebuild the country, but help like reaching out to people like you who are already based in UK,
mm,
or where the diasporas
yeah,
community are, and coming to the country, seeing the realities. You're not doing like one thing, right? It's
yeah,
consistent. You're coming and seeing, and you're
mm,
following up, you're processing it, and so they can trust you because you're going to come back. So you are the channel
yeah,
to build Sri Lanka, or bring back the resources. So all the diaspora community needs
mm,
to contribute to Aram, and the Global Impact Collective is coming up. So people need to work together,
yeah,
and this is something I also want to address.
mm,
Having this initiative coming up is good, but not
yeah,
great, right? Because it is kind of how I say, kind of a diversified, or yeah, like the support
then,
system goes here and there, and even our
yeah,
people unity is also kind of dividing, right? So we have
yeah,
these initiatives happening. There are hundreds of people, maybe this is a message I thought to kind of give back, give or share in my social media for a long, but I'm not that involved in my social media. Maybe I'll tell it here, because inspiring from Aram,
mm,
there are people wants to start like Aram, right?
mm,
But no need to do that, because Aram is
mm,
already, people just join hands, right? Join hands, and because the sole
and
purpose
yeah,
is to build the community, build the country, and build the community, and it should go through one channel. If we have like
and
multiple channels, right? To
mm,
which channel I should kind of a focus. There are so many channels. It's like looking at a buffet. I don't know what to eat, right? It's very hard to choose for me. So like, so we have to support, Aram, and we have to channel all our support, and then we need to make Aram strong
one,
in UK, and then through Aram we can make the community
mm,
strong and can rebuild the country. So that is the
uh,
only message I can tell community. No need to talk to me, just talk to Aram, and Aram knows better what Sri
mm.
Lanka needs. That's the message, Nisha. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so important. What you said before, like with trust, a lot of people got burnt. A lot of people who've invested in their money has gone somewhere they don't know because they didn't have existing trusted relationships. And because of this big gap between diaspora and locals, some local people maybe their intentions are bad, but still they don't feel connected enough with us that they care to take our money and use it productively. Whereas when we
Yeah.
go and we build trusted relationships and we bond and we connect with people again, of course, no one's ever, we're going to build trusted relationships. Everyone we work with, we trust fully. We've never had a bad experience. And everyone we work with is so community oriented and wants to do everything for other people.
Yeah.
So us actually going back and building those relationships is so important to solving that problem, which is that trust and transparency problem. And yeah, like you said, we are a channel, and that's what we're aiming to be, is this funnel for people to come and, if somebody wants to invest, and if they come to us and say, I want to invest in export distribution, we know people who do that, and we know people who can partner you up with if you're a diaspora member who hasn't been back. And so, like you said, it's important to grow like a strong
Mm.
channel rather than small initiatives coming here and there. Yeah, I really agree with that. I think that's such a good point. Yeah. But yeah, just I think one thing I want to ask, when you first came across Aram, or when we first reached out to Dreamspace, what did you think? Did you think this was something that is very needed and new, or like what was your initial kind of response to us wanting to work with you guys, or wanting to come there and meet all of you?
Yeah, I mean, I was excited to meet like young people that is coming from the diaspora community,
Mm,
because it rarely happens. People coming in an exchange program, but like Dreamspace, as I said in the beginning, so we are here to challenge the system, to show like what can be done differently, right? It doesn't say that okay, since Dreamspace is saying this, Dreamspace should do, but we are telling the system, okay, this can be do better in this way. So try this approach, right? That's what we are saying. So it's a great value
mm,
addition for us to join hands with Aram, so that we can communicate even our values and match our values with them. And also it's been a long awaited like sharing my thoughts, right? Like okay, so diaspora community should know about these realities before acting anything, right? Because whatever the community acts there, it affects us people who are here in the country, right? Yeah, it's starting from all the past, like bitter incidents happened even from UK or Canada. Like the suppression happens here in the country, right? So
yeah.
how mindfully our diaspora community needs to act together, I think, like I communicated in the first ever intervention that we had, and that
Mm,
is kind of well like understood by Aram. And also like for me also, not only for me, and many of us in the country wants to communicate that, but social media is not the right
yeah.
platform to do that,
Way to do.
because it takes different turn, and it is ended up something that we didn't imagine, having a good
Yeah.
thought. So having one-on-one
Exa-
space, it kind of clears all these, like kind of gray and dark spots. Like, so when I say you ask questions
mm,
and then you put things, we mapped out, and that's how it worked. I
yeah.
mean, not only for Dreamspace, I mean, like, so I mean, Aram is adding different organizations and different districts. So I think like a long way to go, but I know Aram also needs the right support from the diaspora community,
Mm,
so that like
exactly.
so everyone wants to build the community. To make it stronger, we need the right support system.
Mm,
So that support system needs to come through a proper channel, a
mm,
trusted channel, and that is what I see like Aram initiative is like. So we have to kind of move on with you
okay.
guys. I mean, we need a lot of support. You have to go to all 25 districts, needs to understand the different the faces, not only like northeast, central, but also we
Mm,
need to all the regions, because for me, like in all 25 districts, Tamil
yeah.
speaking people are there, right? So we have to kind of work with them who are there,
Mm,
like ended up, because we have a long history, not Sri Lanka doesn't born like past 400 years like other certain countries. We have a long history. So we need to understand that, right? So how like happened. And for that, the diaspora community also needs to support Aram
yeah.
without judging, okay, this is what they're doing, or, judgmental. So that is also like, I felt
Yeah.
even the initial when I first felt okay, the certain things, maybe Aram initiative is also like may get coming back and working with ground level communities. There might be challenges for you guys, but everyone should know, like without judgment, the diaspora community should support. When we get the right
Yeah,
support, only we can see the results, right? The outcome, the impact. So
exactly.
this also again to all the diaspora community, like from like 100 years old to 6 years old, everyone can understand nowadays. So they have to support without like being judgmental. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's a big challenge that we face is that people obviously still very hurt and understandably we're all
Mm.
very hurt. But the best thing for us to do for everyone back there is to productively help. So that's what a lot of when we speak to like you, Kishoth, and so many other people we work with, it's the same thing. They say we don't expect second, third generation diaspora to come back because they become so apathetic and they don't realize what we actually need. And so when we come, people are often very surprised and are realizing that this is something that can happen in the future. And that's what we're really hoping to drive in ARM is to get people to see how important it is that we stay involved and we reconnect with our people. But yeah, I think it's so important. And I think it's different coming from our mouths than it is from people like your mouths, Kishoth, people with experience within social work and born and raised in the country and have stayed there. So I think this is why it's important to have these conversations. But yeah, I think this is a really good conversation. I just wanted to ask if you had anything else that you are really eager to say to diaspora people
Yeah,
or
I mean,
anything else you wanted to add.
yeah. So I think I have added enough. But yeah, no, like so please
Yeah,
support in the economy. Sri Lanka has huge potential. So we have several natural resources,
exactly.
like very beautiful blue
Mm,
resources. The ocean, the lagoons. So we have that.
mm,
Which is not yet and the bioeconomy. Sri Lanka is coming up in the bioeconomy and it is
mm,
still not tapped, right? So we have started only
mm,
the biotechnology in 2015 as a country. So we have a long way to go. And if there are any,
mm,
biologists,
yeah,
scientists, they're like, please do visit and share your knowledge and expertise with our country. Like so we can really tap into that. Even we recently, like we do like the mycelium research at Dreamspace, and we was like witness that Sri Lanka has 20,000 species of mushrooms varieties. Like so, which is still like untapped. Like it's growing in the nature, and we have to tap
mm,
that to use. So there are like several things that we can do in the bioeconomy. So that is still untapped, though we tapping right now in the blue economy. So invest in the right
yeah,
people, to identify the right people, invest in Aram, and this is the channel. This is the channel for our community development and also to build the
yeah,
country. The diaspora should be more responsible
and
element, as an influencing factor of the development of the economy of Sri Lanka. Like also the
yeah,
become an influencing factor. Always comes with the responsibility and the obligation. So we have to
mm,
do the right support system, and also we have to mindfully engage and like saying things, or releasing any statement in mindfully as well.
yeah,
And that is
exactly.
that is really helps, like us as a country. We have to see the future. I didn't say that we need to kind of completely forget the past, but
Mm,
heal. We have to heal from our past, and we should have made ourselves already ready to build the future, and we should be,
yeah,
in the phase of building our future, the future of our community, the future of our country. So that is, something
yeah,
we have to bail out our country from everywhere, right? From everything, for
everywhere.
every different individuals that is kind of influencing our country. So we have to bail it out, and
Yeah,
seeing that, like no any disparities. We have to narrow all our disparities, and we have to come together to build our country together. So that is something
yeah,
I need to invite all the diaspora community. I know that is certain realities it takes times to change, and
Mm-hmm.
understanding that ground reality. And also, we have a very fresh government, and it's been 1 year old now.
Yeah.
So in terms of the government, is still very new, and there are like another like 3 4 years to go. So things are different now. Things are very different. So they're trying to
Mm.
abolish corruption in the country. So even in the recent statement of the president, he's telling, like tackling corruption is kind of a dangerous, but not tackling it, it is more dangerous. The most dangerous thing is just letting the
Mm.
corruption and all these things, go.
Mm.
So we have to do that. As a country, we all have to kind of contribute together to rebuild the country,
Mm.
like healing ourselves from all our
Yeah.
devastating past experience and trauma. And we have to come out because it helps our community, it's help our country. And also we have to
Yeah.
fuel our resources in the right channel, so that we reduce the brain drain from our regions, also from the country.
Mm. Exactly.
We have to make our country as one of the most the brightest country in the South Asia. We also like trying to make,
Mm-hmm.
as Dreamspace also trying to make, our vision is also to make Sri Lanka as one of the best country in the South Asia, and also to position Sri Lanka as a social and tech innovation hub. So we are
Yeah.
trying our level best to do that. And we also need support, and
Yeah.
everyone needs support in that. All
Yeah.
our, we have brilliant people as scientists, like economists and venture capitalists, and the different, we have a
Yeah.
strong Sri Lankan community is one of the strong community in the world. So we have to kind of unleash all our
Yeah.
potential right channel, and trust Aram, and then
Mm-hmm.
they can channel the support system to us, and we can rebuild the country together. So it's a time for us to come together, to do things
Yeah.
together, and to build the country together. That's the only message from
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Beautifully said. I think that's exactly what we would say and nothing more. And I think there's just one thing, which is we have everything already. Like you said, such a strong community. We're extremely intelligent people,
Mm.
extremely hardworking, ambitious. We do things that we need to do. The only thing we haven't done is come together in a united front and really push forward in what we want to see, what change we want to see for our people. So I think that's so important. But yeah, thank you so much, Kishoth. I think this was an amazing conversation, and I hope all the diaspora listening can really resonate with what you're saying and can use the words from your mouth to think about how they want to contribute, how they really want to drive change in our country, and how not only do we have a passion to this, we also have a duty to do it too. So I think that that's also a key part of it. So yeah, I think that's all. But yeah, thank you so much, Kishoth.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity. Can share something that is not spoken from myself for a long. So thanks for creating that platform to share,
Yeah,
whatever I had in my mind. Yeah, thank you, Aram
yeah.
Initiative, and
I think
thank you for reaching out.